Now, it's often assumed that young people are obsessed with modern technology and spend all their time on social media. But it's not always the case that Generation Z is only interested in the latest gossip. Narrabundah College student Ellen Trevanion is happiest when she's uncovering stories from the past, and she's just won a national award for her efforts. Adam Shirley reports.
Ellen Trevanion's passion for the past has drawn her to history books ever since she was a child. The Canberra student has recently been announced as the National Young Historian of the Year. To earn the title, she wrote an essay examining a crucial period of John Curtin's prime ministership during the 1940s.
I think he's regarded as, one of Australia's great prime ministers, if not our greatest prime minister, and he's a wartime leader. So obviously, the decisions that he made and the pressure that he was under while he was making them was just incredible.
Forthrightly, he demanded of the great Churchill that Australian troops should be recalled for the defence of their own homeland.
There's been this idea of Curtin as being perhaps, the great patriot, the great Australian Prime Minister who broke with Britain, who moved towards this new alliance with the United States. And I looked at Curtin and I read some books about him and I sort of agreed, and then I actually started looking at the documents themselves and actually tracing his decision-making process and then what happened afterwards. So in 1944 at the Imperial Conference in London, in 1945, and then the policies followed by the Australian government after he died. And it didn't seem like this had actually happened. It didn't seem like there actually was this fundamental shift in Australia's relationship with Great Britain. It didn't seem like there was this, dramatic turning towards the United States. And I thought, how does this work, I suppose, that we have this idea of this being this defining moment or this turning point, and in actuality it wasn't anywhere near as dramatic as that.
The 17-year-old gives a lot of credit to high school teachers who have inspired her to dig through decades past. She's particularly grateful for the support of her history mentor at Narrabundah College, Hilary Brittell.
I'm a firm believer in lots of debates and rigorous debates in the classroom, and I do tend to say to the kids, I want blood on the floor. And Ellen was, one of those people who could argue quite vehemently. I think history should be fun. And I think it's about stories and it's about people. But within that, I expect my students to go back to the sources, to read really widely so that they can present their arguments with rigour. If there's no rigour in history, it's not really fun because it just is static.
I ask you Australians to fill this lounge as a complete and immediate indication to the enemy that Australia will meet him inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, and that he shall not enter upon our country.
As part of her research, Ellen dug up transcripts of Curtin's speeches, correspondence and dealings with Churchill and Roosevelt.
It was a lot of fun because you sort of start off by looking at the historians and what they say, and then I found the John Curtin Prime Ministerial Archives, or the library, so I got a whole lot of documents off there. And then the British National Archives, which is a really interesting, it's an alternative perspective, it's the British perspective. So you can actually go through and trace, blow by blow as it were, all of the responses, the replies from all these different people, and sort of build this picture of what was actually happening and what they were actually saying to each other.
Hilary Brittell thinks her students deserve all the credit for taking a vigorous interest in their work. She found it immensely satisfying to see Ellen succeed at a national level.
It's wonderful to see your students willing to put in that work, and for Ellen that was a phenomenal amount of work. But it's wonderful to say, yes, I had something to do with that, and she loves history because of some of the things we've done here at the college.
Everyone has their own little strange, peculiar interests and peculiar tastes, and so I'm the history nerd.
And quite proud of it.
I like being the history nerd. It's a lot of fun, and it's something I love doing and something I'm really interested in.